Hey, and welcome back. Last time we left, I told you that I thought we were going to start off with a drug case. That almost every time we start off with a murder or a armed robbery or something like that. What was unusual is we dropped back and picked up a lot of these drug cases. And last week we started off with one on Monday. That guy ended up pleading guilty. He received a sentence of 10 years. They called another case on Tuesday. That guy pled. It was another drug case. Every day we called another case, and every one of them pled guilty. It really flies in the face of this thing that people are putting off to or trying to get a speedy trial. But as soon as you call it, I believe that they're trying to delay until the last minute, and then they end up getting more time by doing that. But the way that drugs are set up, if you go to trial and we hold you to a third offense, it's 25 years to 30 or 25 to life in some cases. So all of those cases ended up pleading guilty, and all of them pled to something more than what we had originally offered. We tried to go up each time as opposed to dickering around. In another courtroom, that was Judge Bonds handling those trials. In another courtroom, Judge Price was handling pleas. And some of these cases had gotten a little bit older and was getting ready to go on the trial roster, and those pled. The first one that I'll tell you about is a young man named Cameron Horton. We list in the press release that he's from North Charleston, but he did have some connections to Conway. I think he grew up around Conway. This was a young man. He was 22. He had actually researched people that were on the sex registry. And you can be on the sex registry for a number of things, but he did some research and he pulled up a list of people. Really didn't have anything to do with him, but he just did not like people that were on the sex registry. And he went to Daryl Johnson's house. Daryl Johnson was 73 years old and living in North Myrtle Beach. Daryl Johnson had been on the sex registry out of, I believe it was Georgia, somewhere in Georgia, and he had moved to North Myrtle Beach. But when you do that, you have to register, and apparently Horton had found his name online and went and actually killed 73-year-old Daryl Johnson. Then he fled to, he was going to Savannah, but I think he got a traffic ticket in Jasper County right before he crossed the bridge. Then when the BOLO, or Be on the Lookout For, went out from North Myrtle Beach looking for, which really quick, looking for him, the people in Jasper County said, "Hey, we just saw him." So he was pretty easy to find. I can tell you this now. I couldn't tell you while it was pending, but Cameron Horton gave a full confession, told what all he had done, why he had done it, and that he had then fled the area. So he pled guilty. He was looking at a mandatory minimum of 30 years up to life imprisonment. This was a terrible crime, but the judge heard the facts and circumstances, the fact that Horton had no record or none to speak of, and gave him the mandatory minimum, which was 30 years. Now, what's important about that is murder is the only charge that this goes to, but on a murder charge, 30 years means 30 years. 35 years means 35 years. You could say March 2023 plus 30 means March 2053 is when he would get out. Another case that was getting ready for trial but pled in front of Judge Price was a young, well, shoot, too old to be doing this mess, David Plum, P-L-U-M-P, 61 years old, of Myrtle Beach. He robbed two hardware stores or Home Depot type stores, one in Myrtle Beach and one in North Myrtle Beach. It was Home Depot's. He pled again straight up to those crimes. The judge, Judge Price, gave him a mandatory minimum, which is 10 years on each of these charges. Unlike murder, it's not day for day, but it is what we call no parole, which means he would have to serve 85% before he would be eligible for parole. It's kind of a misnomer to say no parole, but anyway, I don't write the rules. That's how the statute reads, 85%. So he'll serve at least 8.5 years before he becomes eligible for parole. And that is David Plum, 61 years old. We are in court in Georgetown this week. We're out of court for general sessions in Horton this week, but we will be back in court next week. And I'll let you know what went on in Georgetown and what we're working on in Horton for next week. Have a great week.